I want you guys to just bear with me. If you already finished this and got a good grade, cool, but I want to just take a few minutes to open by demonstrating how these grammar quests work. So I'm going to preview this. So when you open this, hopefully, there's some pretty straightforward instructions. Some of them I was able to go in more detail with some of these more than others, but you have 20 attempts on these, right? So the idea here is that if you don't get a good grade, look at what you did wrong and try again. I have a phrase that I often say, if it's something worth doing, it's worth doing wrong a few times. One of the tragedies of life and human experience is that you don't learn anything when you're right. You only learn things when you're wrong, right? So it's okay if you get something wrong, that means you're learning. Anyway, when you open these, assuming I did it right and there isn't a problem, there should be a little bit of a definition or an explanation for what you're going to need to know if you don't already know it in order to complete this particular quest. So what I have here is the definition of a phrase, right? So a phrase is a group of related words that is used as a single part of speech and that does not contain both a verb and its subject. Now that's interesting, I say part of speech. What does that mean? Hopefully you guys can remember parts of speech are those certain elements of a sentence or an idea, right? You have your subject, which is a noun, right? You have your adjectives, they describe nouns, right? You have your verbs, those are the things that you do. Well, one of the things I want you to realize in this class is that sometimes you have phrases that act the same way. Now that'll make more sense on the next lesson when we look at a positives and a positive phrases, but here's an example, right? Several accidents occurred over the weekend, right? And so in this example, I've spelled it out for you. Over the weekend is used like an adverb, right? Because it's modifying what occurred. So I could break this down. We have the whole thought here. Several accidents occurred. That is the complete thought. You could put a period there and you'd be fine because it has all the important things you need. Accidents, subject, occurred, verb. That's what happened. Accidents occurred. You could even get rid of several, and that's a sentence. However, you have this phrase here, and it's a phrase, not a sentence, because you can kind of feel it. Watch this. I want you to listen and feel this in your gut if this sounds right. Over the weekend, it's uncomfortable that I stopped there, right? Very uncomfortable that I stopped there. You can feel it in your gut that that's an incomplete thought, right? It's a phrase. It's used to describe something. It's describing what occurred. Over the weekend, several accidents occurred. Oh, thank God I finished the thought. You could feel that, hopefully. All right, so your job on this assignment, here's another example, right? Standing at the podium, Jalen practices speech. Oh, thank God I finished the sentence, right? So your job is to identify whether something is a phrase. I'll skip ahead to where the actual questions are, right? So you're going to write whether it's a phrase or not a phrase. So here's the example. Last Friday evening, we decided to make our own pizza. So if it's a phrase, that means it's incomplete. It feels weird when you stop. If it's not a phrase, that means it could function as a complete sentence if you wanted it to. So here's how you test it, right? We decided. Is that a phrase or is that a complete thought? Yeah, it's a complete thought. Now, it's maybe missing some stuff. What did we decide? But if you already knew what that was, it's a complete thought. We decided, right? If you asked me a question, right, and I responded, we decided, I'm trying to end the argument. Complete thought, it works. So that one's not a phrase. So you drag not a phrase in there. Hopefully that helps you out with it.